Mark Saxon is President and CEO of Tasman Metals. It's a company who extracts rare earths in Nordic countries. Mark, welcome to Geneva.
Thanks, Nicolette. Nice to be here.
Mark, just a few words about rare earths. What are they used for, and what was the problem with supply?
Sure. Rare earths is a really new and exciting field, and really everything that you imagine in the modern world is consuming rare earth metals, whether it's telephones, whether it's automobiles, whether it's wind turbines. All of those modern products that we take advantage of and we take for granted today have rare earth metals hidden inside them somewhere. I guess we look at a whole range of different metals when we talk about rare earths, but they vary in price from, say, very low cost metals at about $5 per kilogram up to about $1,000 per kilogram. And each of those metals have slightly different properties. The reason for rare earths being talked about today, and they've been talked about, I guess, consistently for the last 4 years, is that around 95% of production comes from China. And really, if the Western world wants to have access to these metals, then they have to pay Chinese prices. They have to take those metals on Chinese terms, and that's supply, and that comes with a certain irregularity of supply as well. And so that's really caused the Western world a lot of concern about where the metals will come from, not so much today, but 5 and 10 years off into the future, about where those metals can come from to provide green technologies and new technologies.
But the debate about that rarity has kind of quietened down. Is it that there's more supply, or is the situation still the same?
Yeah, certainly we've seen some new supply come into the Western world from two companies, which is Molycorp in the United States and Lynas Corp in Australia. Those two companies are suppliers of light rare earths, which are the relatively low value end of the market. For heavy rare earths, which is where Tasman is operating, there is no Western world supply yet. Everything is coming from China. Certainly it's quietened down, partly because of that new supply, but also just because I think the community has matured, consumers have matured, to know that the best way forward is not to make a big song and dance about where metals come from, but in fact operate quietly and strategically and try to secure those metals. And I think that's what most Western industrial companies are now doing.
You are exploring 2 projects in Sweden. Where are they situated, and what are their advantages? What are they going to produce?
Sure. We've been very fortunate with Sweden. It's a great mining country, and it has a very good mining act, very easy for us as a foreign company to operate there. One of the lowest cost companies in the world to operate as a mining company, and we see that through labour being quite cheap, and also drilling and overheads being quite cheap. For us, we have 2 projects. Norra Kärr is what we call our flagship, and Norra Kärr really is a world-class project. Norra Kärr has a resource there that can easily last for 40 years, and as we say to consumers, that Norra Kärr can provide all of Europe's rare earth metals for about 40 years, and probably more. So it really is a major project. The key metals that we will produce from that site are, in particular, dysprosium, neodymium and yttrium. So those metals will be going into rare earth magnets in particular, and also into lighting products. And
what are the advantages of operating in Nordic countries, in more specifics? I mean, is the infrastructure good, and the local talents?
Yeah, well, certainly the Nordic countries have been easy to operate because they have very skilled populations, they have a great mining act, they have lots of infrastructure. All of those things mean that our operating costs will be relatively low as a mining company. The infrastructure, for example, we have road and rail, and we have ports, we have medium-sized towns not too far away from the project. And so when we build Norra Kärr, when we build our project, we don't need to build airstrips, we don't need to have camps and medical facilities. All of that's provided by the local community, which means we only need to build a mine site. That has obviously benefit for us as a mining company because we need to spend less money, but it also means that the maximum benefit from that project flows into that local community. We can employ almost all the people we need from within a 1-hour drive of the project. So money will be earned from Tasman at Norra Kärr and spent in the local community, and so that has a really great economic input into that local region.
What kind of quantity are we talking about in production?
It will be a relatively small mine on Swedish terms. I think the largest mine in Sweden mines around 50 million tonnes per year. For us at Norra Kärr, we'll be mining only about 1 million tonnes per year. But because the grade of the rare earth metals in the rock is high, then that will be producing around 6,800 tonnes per year of rare earth metals. And that will be the product that we produce at the mine gate will then go into separation and value-added process further down the line.
Mark, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thanks, Nicolette.